Hello, second grade writers, and welcome to our writing lesson for the day. This week we're going to be starting a new unit on poetry, and we're going to become expert poets with our writing. Today we're not actually going to be writing any poetry, but we are going to be reading a little poem that I have planned for you guys, and we're just going to read that poem just to kind of get a feel for what poetry actually is. If you're not really sure, if you're not comfortable with writing your own poetry right now. So we're just going to dive into one poem today, and just kind of get a feel for what poetry is, but also how poets write their poems, and kind of how poetry is formed. So poets see the world through kind of special lenses. They don't necessarily have like actual like glasses or magnifying glass, but they see with their hearts, their minds, and then they write about the world in fresh, unusual ways. So today, what I'm going to teach you is that poetry is a type of writing that requires you to use your eyes in special ways. That's because poets, they see the world, again, like I said, through special lenses. Okay? So they see the world with their hearts and minds, which, it can be their feelings. So then they write about the world in a new and unexpected way. So let's take a look at this poem. Check this poem out to see what I mean. Let's take a look at how poets see regular objects in different ways. So this one is called Pencil Sharpener by Zoe Ryder White. So this is what Zoe Ryder White writes in her poem. She says, "I think there are 100 bees inside the pencil sharpener, and they buzz and buzz and buzz until my point is sharp." Okay, so now what we can do is we can kind of look at this poem line for line. Okay, so let's take a look at how the author made a comparison. That she makes a good comparison in this story, and maybe some of you already noticed it, but let's kind of dive a little bit further into this poem and just see exactly what she's comparing. So she compared the pencil sharpener to a beehive. Okay, so let's kind of take a look at the poem one more time and read it line for line. So the first line says, "I think there are 100 bees." That's a lot of bees, all right? 100 bees, that's a lot of bees. Inside the pencil sharpener. So I'm kind of picturing a pencil sharpener that we either have in our classroom. I don't know if any of you have like a pencil sharpener or like an electric pencil sharpener at your homes, but I'm also thinking of like a pencil sharpener like that. But I believe that I saw that your pencil sharpener in your classroom when I was in your class for a very short amount of time. But that's just kind of what I'm picturing. I'm kind of picturing, like a big blue pencil sharpener on the counter of our classroom. So, okay, I get it now. So let's keep reading. And they buzz and buzz and buzz. Okay, I definitely understand that comparison because I know that bees buzz, and I also know that when I put my pencil in the pencil sharpener, it also makes kind of a buzzing sound, right? So the sound that the pencil sharpener makes when I sharpen pencils does sound like bees buzzing. And then the last line says, "Until my point is sharp." Right, so I know that bees are known for being hard workers, right? And so is pencil sharpeners. Pencil sharpeners have to work really hard to get your pencil to be as sharp as you want it to be. Okay, so when my pencil is sharp, the sharpener goes quiet, so that way it knows when it's done, right? So when the pencil is done being sharpened, the pencil sharpener kind of either goes quiet or sometimes it just might stop, and that's how you know your pencil is done. But the comparison I think there is that pencil sharpeners and bees, they both work really hard. They make a buzzing and they make a buzzing sound, right? So that's a really good comparison that the author made in her poem about the pencil sharpener, was that she's kind of comparing the pencil sharpener to bees. They have a lot of they have a lot of similar character traits, a pencil sharpener and bees. Okay, so I just kind of wanted to introduce you that and just kind of introduce you to poetry, just by showing you a nice simple poem right here. As you can tell, this poem doesn't rhyme, so not all poetry has to rhyme, and we'll get more into that in our future lessons on poetry. But for now, I just wanted to share a quick short poem with you and just kind of talk to you a little bit about how poets write their poetry and what kind of skills they use to write their poems. Okay, everybody. So hopefully you enjoyed that poem. Hopefully you learned a little bit about how poets kind of make their poems, and they use kind of their feelings to write their poems about specific things in the world. And hopefully, you kind of get a good idea of maybe what you might want to write about when we start writing our own poems. So again, just wanted to introduce that to you. Hope you enjoyed the poem, and hope you're excited to start our new unit on poetry. Okay, everybody, bye.